Hello, good evening, and welcome to Camnet Television Main News. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Our top stories in the news tonight: stakeholders continue to criticize government over load shedding. Fertilizer delay supply angers KABWE farmers. Social scientists optimistic of government's debt restructuring program. In international news, East Africa drought threatens millions with starvation. And in sports news, young people in MUNALI spend time on the sport of DROUGHT to avoid negative vices.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962-642-490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Good news, good news. The rains have started. You need to plan your future. Generational wealth is the way to go. Has grafted avocado plants fruiting within 2 to 3 years for sale at only 90 kwacha each, and ordinary avocados at only 45 kwacha each. Contact us on 0979 753010 or 0962 965 883. We are open from 8 hours to 17 hours, Monday to Friday, at Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill, opposite Hilltop Hospital.
Hello once again, another news in detail. An 18-year-old girl of Lusaka's Kanyama compound has allegedly been chased from home by her maternal aunt on the basis that she is stubborn and does not do home chores. In an exclusive interview, Natasha Munenga says she has spent 3 days in the cold and has no justifiable reason, has been given to her on why she has been thrown out. Meanwhile, the victim's aunt, identified as Eunice Munenga, who did not want to be filmed, lamentably cried and disclosed that her niece is stubborn and has a habit of abusing drugs. More in this report.
When everyone is making new resolution after entering a new year, it is a different case for this 18-year-old girl of Lusaka's Kanyama compound who has been chased from home by a maternal aunt on the ground that she is stubborn and does not do home chores. Narrating a predicament to this reporter, Natasha Munenga explains that she has now spent 3 days in the court after her aunt, whom she identified as Eunice Munenga, threw her out without any reasonable cause.
From Pewanas Vachati in a sponsorship, I think so. Dependambira che, check kwa usuchi. Was all pay Nezemuiso is. I used to attend my holidays. She never used to act up like that. But not damn, but she paid us at school. But Ziva, okay, the mind did and fun. Started acting up weird. My dad, but she need my Ziva. She up to now.
The victim, who rushed to report her aunt to a community human rights-based organization, says she is an orphan and has nowhere to live.
She can't appreciate me. It was me, I'm the one who used to stay outside. I know the effort I've been putting in. And then, even when I try to do something good to her, you try to work, you try to do something, to make a stay, you do that. At the end of the day, you found you are the fault.
After hearing a side of the story, Concerned Citizen for Justice and Human Rights Director Richard Nkua went with the victim to the accused home, and upon reaching, Eunice Munenga, the aunt to the victim, said the reason why she chased her niece was because of her bad behavior. The woman, who did not want to be filmed, lamentably cried and disclosed that her niece is stubborn and has a habit of abusing drugs.
It is a school. So pamela anachoka kuja naenda kuli wa brother wangu. Pamela anaenda kuli wa brother wangu. Same vichitipi. 1 chamba. 2 abe mafuaka. 3 akumwa moba. Apa pamela alivi sasa meza nchito ili yonsi. Muunzake ni hivi mwana wanga inaenda kunchito. Mukamuuza anka rough. Kubwera usiku. Akachoka kuseni. Kubwera ni usiku. Nishini wokolewa. Anga afikira hapo. Ndiye pamela afikira. Avala chani ni umu. Ukakambapo. Banebaza wanganika mbele. Ambo shauta umu.
Concerned Citizen for Justice and Human Rights Director was left with no option but to summon the accused to the office after failing to come to a conclusion.
Mwana ni juvenile. So pamina ali juvenile. Mbari amene watenga vega mulamulo siri. Then boma inaika lamulo ya nyu. Lamulo ya nyu amene wanaika. Wazazi pesa mai wa mangi. Mwanube sesa. At the end of the day also pamina wachita visuza kalaka. So what we are trying to do is to help out. We balance up things.
By broadcast time, the organization got in touch with the victim's uncle, who agreed to take custody of the victim until Monday, when the issue will be resolved. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
The delay by the supplier, FSG company, to supply top-dressing fertilizer to farmers in KABWE has angered farmers in the district. And KABWE District Commissioner Lennox Shimwambwa, who visited the FSG warehouse, apologized to farmers on behalf of the government, saying the problem was with the supplier. He further revealed that the same individuals craving for fertilizer were not genuine farmers but businessmen who usually end up selling the same commodity on the black market. Meanwhile, one of the beneficiaries, Jeremiah Ndlovu, has accused officials at the FSG warehouse of being corrupt. More in this report.
Farmers in KABWE district of Central Province are in a panic mood. This follows the delay by the supplier, FSG, the company contracted by government to supply top-dressing fertilizer. KABWE District Commissioner Lennox Shimwambwa visited the FSG warehouse and apologized to the farmers on behalf of the government.
On behalf of government, that to the situation is to the mine. But it's the tender ma suppliers. About not to pay to a supplier fertilizer. One of these companies is NCZ, Qualina FSG. By NCZ, by the supplier fertilizer. Panotuli, by FSG. The company yearly responsible for a program for urea.
In addressing the farmers outside the gate of the warehouse, the district commissioner further indicated that among these people who are jostling for fertilizer, a good number of them are not genuine farmers but criminals who are siphoning government resources and ends up reselling the commodity on the black market.
Pali bambina bashiri genuine mwe. Bambi mwali pokenda la makale. So nomba muli under pressure. Kutwalira balamu apoka kwenda la. So abaine abamukati nimbewa kuli ama signs yo tuishiba ama genuine farmers. Pali ba patient. And even last year nalikwete shuko kubomba kwa nama farmers muri ine program ma genuine farmers bali wa patient bala bale panga sana echongo no pushinga no kuma mato sana nabakwata pressure so twala isova na mukati umu twala ishibana twala mona bali abalanda ngafweni ko bwangu nala mipera kwa kamu.
Meanwhile, corruption has not spared the process of this exercise.
Yeah, I want to appeal to the warehouse managers that if they want to do their work professionally, they shouldn't allow their workers to get involved, to connive with people, with farmers, you know. And as long as they entertain that process of conniving with farmers, there are some of their workers, it will not help, and it will actually escalate corruption, and it's not good for this country.
Unfortunately, the truck carrying the fertilizer into the warehouse knocked this farmer, Clementina KABWE, at the gate. The victim was later rushed to the hospital. Petronella Msangulure, Camnet TV News, in KABWE, Central Province.
Government has warned delinquent youths, commonly known as junkies, terrorizing residents in various communities of Lusaka, that the long arm of the law will soon catch up with them. Lusaka District Commissioner Rosa Zulu has told Camnet News that government is aware that people in the district are living in fear because of the junkies. Ms. Zulu says working with police, government is putting in place appropriate measures to bring the situation under control.
Initially, as government, what we have put in place is that we need all the junkies, all those who call themselves as a junkie, to be out of town. Can they find something to do? It's really unfortunate that even when people want to be helped, they still want to call themselves all sorts of names. There's no way people can just want to be robbing from people, stealing in homes and doing other bad things, and yet the government, one, they have opened up to say all the young ones to go back to school freely without any payment. I don't know what they are going to say now when they have been given to go to school freely. Two, their tertiary sponsorship, which we are giving at the moment as government. We are giving skills to the youths. Even if they did not go to school, they can learn plumbing, they can learn all sorts of skills. We are also saying for those who have something to do but they have no funds, there are booster loans which we have been given to marketeers. I don't really understand why people should still hang on to say, no, we are junk, we are what.
Social scientist Innocent Kolala is confident that the United Party for National Development UPND administration will make headways on the debt restructuring program. Last year, Finance Minister Stumbeko Msokotwane indicated that Zambia is pushing hard to complete the restructuring of nearly $15 billion of external debt in the first quarter of 2023 and is in active engagement with the largest bilateral creditor, China. And Mr. Kolala has observed that if Zambia is to effectively stabilize the economy, debt management is critical. He notes that previous governments have been adjourning debt repayments, hence the current administration is bearing the brunt. He says it is important that engagements with China are expedited in order to make progress on this matter.
Look at the issue of the farm inputs, because us as a country, we depend on farming. Since we depend on farming, we require enough fertilizer, we require enough farm inputs, we require enough things which we are supposed to use to ensure that we give the Zambian people what is best suited for them. But there is no government which can manage, especially with the huge debt which we have. Our colleagues from this other period of the of management of this country, meaning the governments, starting from, of course, UNIP, it came from MMD, even including the PF, they were borrowing pushing the period, the payment period. No, give us money, then you will start now, we'll start paying in 20 years' time. We'll start paying in 10 years' time. We'll start paying in 15 years' time. So they were pushing those dates for the others who are going to come. In this case now, the people who are suffering for such dates is this current government, which has to find the best way on ensuring that they pay back such huge debts. The reason why we congratulate the Minister of Finance for having assured the Zambian people that within the end of this quarter, of course, they will ensure that I think the issue of debt restructuring will be dealt with amicably.
The opposition leadership movement has accused the United National Development Party administration for lacking the willpower to move towards the desired goal of eradicating load shedding, which is crippling business initiatives for the people trying to survive. Party President Dr. Richard Silumbe says the 12 hours of load shedding will perpetuate poverty in the country. He notes that small and medium enterprises such as those running barbershops, salons and welding, among others, have been affected greatly. He is disappointed that 23 years in opposition, the United Party for National Development UPND administration could not plan on how it was going to run the economy. Meanwhile, Dr. Silumbe says nuclear power is a go-to alternative owing to the challenges being experienced with the generation of hydropower in Zambia. More in this report.
In 2015, Zambia experienced massive load shedding across the country. This was due to low water levels in the Kariba Dam. The United Party for National Development administration, then in opposition, condemned the Patriotic Front, the then party in power, and mocked it for failing to find solution to address the situation. Now that the party is in power and the country has gone back to the days of load shedding, the opposition movement leadership party has joined various stakeholders in not only condemning the United Party for National Development administration, but also mocking it for failing to rectify the problem of load shedding, among other issues. Addressing the media Saturday morning, the party president, Dr. Richard Silumbe, says he is disappointed that 23 years in opposition, the UPND could not plan how it was going to improve the economy and address other issues affecting Zambians. He has since advised the government to use nuclear as another alternative owing to the challenges being experienced with the generation of hydropower in Zambia.
Construct a nuclear power plant. And when it comes to safety, those are measures that have been applied. We are not 100 million in this country, we are about 19 million. And we have a country that is bigger than Ukraine and all these other countries that have so many nuclear power plants. When we talk about safety, it's a non-issue. There are so many areas that you can isolate a nuclear power plant and actually work from there and supply the whole country. So it's just an issue of willpower. Do we have will to do it? If we have leadership that has got will to do it, we would be getting very intelligent young people into that program, and we do technology transfer from experts who understand that and come up with a nuclear power station. And small green nuclear power stations are actually available.
Meanwhile, the opposition party has accused the government of failing to implement the elections campaign messages, which led the people to usher them into office.
For the lies they perpetrated, they spent 23 years lying to the Zambian people on so many things. Instead of using that 23 years in opposition to plan and ensure that they have a tangible plan so much that when they get into government, they hit the ground running. But what have we gotten today are excuses after excuses.
Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
The ruling United Party for National Development UPND Alliance member George Sichula has charged that it is unfair to judge the current administration based on the problem of load shedding. In an interview with Camnet News, Mr. Sichula says load shedding is an old-time problem that has left the current administration work on finding a lasting solution to end it. He wonders why the opposition Patriotic Front Party has been criticizing the government on the matter if they once faced such a similar situation and failed to find a solution.
We cannot judge President Hakainde Hichilema basing on load shedding. Load shedding is an old problem. It's not a new problem. And you cannot say that the government has failed basing on that. This is an old problem that we know about. Okay? And from the NDC we know that problems cannot be sorted out at once. Rome was not developed in a year. It took years. And when you are developing a nation, it's different from the way we handle our homes. Okay? A nation is huge. It involves a lot of things. Okay? And most of the achievements that governments make are in a long term, are not short term. Imagine that President Hakainde Hichilema has just been in the office for 1 year and some months. And we expect Zambia to begin to flow with honey and milk. Things don't operate like that. So I wish to disagree with people that are judging the man basing on what they've seen. Okay, of course we have heard people talk about inflation rates, talk about the economy, talk about what. But the most important thing is tying the economy slowly. Is working on the economy slowly.
We'll take a break. We'll be back with more news after the break.
It's Bata's Back to School with a bang this January 2023. Save more kwacha with amazing slashed prices on all taffy school shoes at Bata. Enjoy school shopping with a wide variety of assorted merchandise such as school bags and socks. Bata also has in stock white and blue school shirts for your school uniform shopping convenience. Visit your nearest Bata store countrywide and get back to school for January 2023 in magnificent taffy style. Bata Taffies, built to last, built for life. T's and C's apply.
You know I can take her a bit.
Yes, my dear.
I was thinking of getting you a Bugatti on your birthday.
Really?
I'm quiet. My name is Yana.
Don't worry, man. That's why there is insurance.
Insurance?
You heard me.
Not just any kind of insurance, but Savenda General Insurance, a company that offers superior customer service, highly professional and dedicated staff. We are not just any insurance company, but an insurance company that actually pays our claims. We cover, among others, fire, marine, aviation, engineering, agriculture, motor vehicle, and miscellaneous insurance. So, live life to the full, knowing that Savenda General Insurance has got you covered. Savenda General Insurance. Insurance excellence.
Camnet Stars Football Club, popularly known as the local national team, is inviting all skillfully gifted, talented and creative soccer players from across Zambia. Ages between 16 and 20 must come, train and join the club. The category of these gifted footballers have the chance to go and market their talent in Europe and USA through Camnet Stars Football Club, a team formed with a vision to produce quality international players. Please do not miss this brief open opportunity given to you. Camnet Stars Football Club could be your gateway to your international soccer career. Venue, Kablonga Boys Secondary School grounds. Date 12th December 2022 to 21st January 2023. Time 09 hours to 11 hours. Your time to shine is now.
Welcome back. We continue with our news. The government of the Republic of Zambia, through the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit DMMU, working with stakeholders, have commenced distribution of disease-free cassava cuttings to farmers in selected districts of Luapula and northern provinces that have been affected by cassava brown streak disease. A total of 2,500 farmers in 5 districts, namely Kawambwa, Nchelenge and Chienge in Luapula province, as well as Kaputa and Insama in northern province, will benefit from the disease-free cassava cuttings that are being distributed. The distribution of disease-free cassava cuttings is one of the ways of halting the further spread of the known brown streak disease, which is mostly spread either through the movement of CBSD-infected plants from affected regions or through plant to plant by white flies. Speaking shortly before flagging off the distribution exercise in KABWE, Wapula Province, Permanent Secretary Maiti Mumba called for concerted efforts from all stakeholders and cassava farmers in implementing measures to curb the cassava brown streak disease in order to ensure food security not only for the province but the country at large.
The main objective of this emergency intervention by DMMU and your government in general is to minimize the spread of this disease in order to enhance household and national food security for the targeted beneficiaries. Under this project, government is targeting to distribute 2,500 clean cassava cuttings to the 5 affected districts, as well as empower farmers and extension officers with knowledge and information on the identification and control of the disease. The farmers who receive these cuttings will be treated as seed growers from whom other farmers will be accessing the cuttings.
The Zambia Youth Parliamentary Caucus says the youth internship program by the Ministry of Youth is a necessary tool to inculcate a sense of public duty in young people. In an interview with Camnet News, Parliamentary Youth Caucus Vice Chairperson Twambo Mutinta says the program, which will benefit over 2,000 youths across the country, will also expose them to responsibility in managing public resources. He says the one-year national internship, apprenticeship and volunteer program will provide a benchmark for hands-on experience to youths and prepare them for a journey to service for country. Mr. Mtinta, who is also a Teji area member of parliament, adds that the exposure of youths will make them understand the demands of public duty, resource management and etiquette of the civil service and parastatal organizations.
We would want to commend the step that has been taken by the Ministry of Youth, Sport and Arts, working in collaboration with United Nations Development Program, UNDP, by initiating a national internship and apprenticeship graduate program that we are aware that it was going to benefit about 2,000 graduates, and it will be piloted for 1 year in this Republic of Zambia. As a caucus, we're excited by this news, and we feel that if this program is well done, it will give an opportunity for the youths, it will prepare them for formal employment. It will also give them an opportunity to engage into practice before serving as public servants. And this is what we've been aspiring for quite a long time. As you may be aware, issues around unemployment amongst the young people are very rife. We are talking about 60% of the population being youthful, and we are talking about an annual channeling out of young people from universities. And these energies, they are just sitting idle in the communities. We feel such a step is recommendable, and all the well-meaning stakeholders, they need to embrace such an initiative. I would want to appeal to other development partners, non-governmental organizations, to embrace this initiative and partner with the ministry and see to it that this program is rolled over to the other years, and the number of beneficiaries expands from 2,000 to a bigger number.
The Ministry of Youth, Sport and Art says it is poised to ensure that creatives begin to develop monetarily and add to the national economic growth with tangible results. Ministry of Sport, Youth and Art Permanent Secretary Fumba Chama says government has put in place a draft national arts policy whose aim is to develop the art industry and guarantee growth. Speaking when he officiated at the inauguration of the Lusaka Contemporary Art Center in Lusaka, Mr. Chama is happy that the center will contribute toward enhancing art development. Meanwhile, Contemporary Art Center founder Victor Mtekelesha is confident that the center will contribute to art development in the country.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I would be failing in my duties if I do not tell you the great things that we are doing for this sector as a government. Many here are aware that my ministry has put in place a draft national arts policy whose aim is to develop the art industry and to ensure its growth. Government is poised to ensure that creatives begin to develop monetarily and to add value and to add to the national economic growth through tangible results. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, allow me to offer my sincere congratulations to Mr. Victor Mchelekesha and the entire team at the Lusaka Contemporary Arts Center, who have worked very hard on what we are seeing today. I wish you all every success in your efforts as you help in such ways to enhance arts development in the country. You can count on the full support of the government through the Ministry of Youth, Sport and Arts, the National Arts Council, and other government agencies. It is my singular honor to officially open the Lusaka Contemporary Arts Center. I thank you and God bless you.
This institution is here for the sole purpose of advancing the interests of Zambian artists, but also of Zambian art and culture. And we feel really privileged that other people that have stood behind us have traveled miles and miles and thousands of miles to Zambia to witness this, but also to witness some of their support where it has gone.
A group of students from the country's higher learning institutions calling themselves Students with Chitalu Chilufya have endorsed the former health minister as their preferred candidate for the forthcoming PF elective convention. The students from the University of Zambia, Evelyn Horn College and Creso University have described Dr. Chilufya as a tried and tested leader who dedicated himself to saving lives and serving the people of Zambia. The students feel that looking at what the country is experiencing today, Dr. Chilufya, with his experience, is equal to the task to address the challenges. They noted that the track record of the former health minister has outperformed that of the current minister. Speaking at the launch of the group, Students Representative Bruce Msoni says Dr. Chilufya's leadership and ambitions journey led Zambia to receive for the first time since independence massive infrastructure development. Mr. Msoni says while others boast of the recruitment, Dr. Chilufya returns the honors of service by uplifting the lives of Zambians and improving their livelihood through the service of his constituency and the country as a whole.
Into doubt again, I'm sorry, I cannot help but state facts. With how much propaganda was thrown at him, it would have been natural that he would have lost his constituency seat. But the people of his constituency still believe in him, that he's even being re-elected. That should tell you how much caliber this man has and his dedication and his works. Are we together? Yes. Thank you. His dedication and patriotism cannot be questioned, as he has served Zambia passionately and has proven with track record of delivery, a result-oriented, clear-cut service delivery coupled with dedication, patriotism, the love for the country is anything to go by. Then in our conclusion, that is only Honorable Dr. Chitalu Chilufya is the hope to take the patriotic front back to power in 2026. I challenge you to give me anyone who has delivered and served the people of Mansa Central constituency and the Zambia better than Dr. Honorable Chitalu Chilufya, and I'll be the first one to endorse such a man. Fellow youths, it's about time we learn our lesson from experimenting with the lives of Zambia. It is the reason we find ourselves in situations as we are today. A very disheartening situation, if you ask me. But not for long, because a tried and tested leadership, our hope, your hope, my hope, Honorable Dr. Chitalu Chilufya.
This is Camnet Television and not just another channel. We'll take a break. We'll be back with international and sports news.
In our quest to save nations and develop Africa, Savenda is investing in the agriculture sector so as to produce supply for both local and international markets, housing over 12,000 pullets that are nurtured and fed with our locally made stock feed that comes from our own locally grown maize and soya beans, all processed from our recently installed milling and mixing plant. Our over 95,000 layers have an output capacity of over 1,500 trays of fresh eggs per day that are carefully selected and packaged for all the leading stores and supermarkets nationwide. Our greenhouses are fitted with the latest irrigation system, and the seedlings are nurtured to ensure only healthy plants reach the fields. With our deliberate planting schedule, we are better placed to supply constantly without interruption, thus reliable. Savenda Farms is also changing lives of its dedicated workforce drawn from the local community and beyond. So the next time you think fresh and green, think Savenda Farms.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body.
That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
It's Bata's back to school with a bang this January 2023. Save more kwacha with amazing slashed prices on all taffy school shoes at Bata. Enjoy school shopping with a wide variety of assorted merchandise such as school bags and socks. Bata also has in stock white and blue school shirts for your school uniform shopping convenience. Visit your nearest Bata store countrywide and get back to school for January 2023 in magnificent taffy style. Bata Taffies, built to last, built for life. T's and C's apply.
Good news, good news. The rains have started. You need to plan your future. Generation Wealth is the way to go. Has grafted avocado plants fruiting within 2 to 3 years for sale at only 90 kwacha each, and ordinary avocados at only 45 kwacha each. Contact us on 0979 753010 or 0962 965 883. We are open from 8 hours to 17 hours Monday to Friday at Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill opposite Hilltop Hospital.
And now in international news, the Horn of Africa and East Africa are experiencing the longest drought in 40 years. Millions of people are at risk of starvation. Together with high prices, the conditions are limiting farmers' efforts to grow crops, raise livestock and buy food. Meanwhile, Mali's military junta leader, Colonel Assimi Goita, pardoned the 49 Ivorian soldiers convicted of undermining Mali's state security and conspiracy against the government on Friday. The pardon comes 1 week after 46 of the soldiers were sentenced to 20 years in prison. The 3 women who had been freed early September were tried in absentia and sentenced to death. Government spokesperson Colonel Abdoulaye Maiga shared the news on national Malian television. For more in international news, here's more.
This is a familiar sight in Somalia's capital, Mogadishu. Hundreds of families are heading to the capital from areas across the country. They are fleeing a drought that has wiped out their livestock and left them without food and water. Some of their children have died. Many are malnourished. Amina Mohammed recently arrived at this camp. She's struggling to make ends meet.
When I wake up in the morning, I make tea and popcorn. This will be my children's only meal.
The last 2 years have been hard on people in countries like Somalia, Kenya and Ethiopia. 4 rainy seasons have failed. It's likely the 5th season won't make much of a difference. Across East Africa, at least 36 million people are affected, including children who are severely malnourished. 11 million Ethiopians and 4 million Kenyans are close to starvation. More than 8 million Somalis have nothing to eat. Millions of farm animals have died, and 16 million people cannot get enough water.
We not only averted the famine, but situation is still critical. Drought also affected the food production, which means 70% of food production in Somalia has been affected by the drought. Also, it affects the education, where all those young people underage who are affected by the drought are not going to the school.
Aid agencies say some districts are heading towards a famine. The last time one was declared in Somalia was in 2011.
Our priority is life-saving, but at the same time we are calling to focus on the recovery and the resilience. That's the most important one. If we wanted to prevent the recurrence of the famine.
Herders in Kenya living in arid areas are relying on the government and humanitarian organizations. Kenya has declared the drought a national disaster. Through the year, Al Jazeera visited several counties in the north to cover the deteriorating situation.
People are receiving maize, beans and cooking oil, but this food does not come often, and villagers that we are talking to say it's not even enough.
Doctors dealing with malnutrition cases say some children who live in remote areas often come to the hospital when they are already too weak to be saved. Wildlife has also been affected. The government estimates at least 200 elephants died because of the drought in 2022. The region is in the middle of another rain season. Some areas have had rainfall, but weather experts say it may not be enough. That means millions of people who desperately need help may go into the next year even worse off.
Mali's military junta leader Colonel Assimi Goïta pardoned the 49 Ivorian soldiers convicted of undermining Mali state security on Friday. The pardon comes 1 week after 46 of the soldiers were sentenced to 20 years in prison. Government spokesperson Colonel Maiga shared the news on national television. His Excellency Colonel Assimi Goïta, President of the Transition, Head of State, granted his pardon with full remission of sentences to the 49 Ivorians convicted by the Malian courts. This gesture by Colonel Goïta is prompted as a way to keep peace between the neighboring countries. This gesture once again demonstrates his attachment to peace, dialogue, Pan-Africanism and the preservation of fraternal and secular relations with the countries of the region. The 49 soldiers were detained in July when they went to work for Sahelian Aviation Services, a private company contracted to work in Mali by the UN. A January 1st deadline set by ECOWAS for Mali to release the soldiers was missed, but no sanctions were encountered.
It's now time for sports news. Chanda Drafts Club has won the Chris Moore Checkers tournament after beating New Academy Drafts Club. Socialist Party member of the National Management Council, Crispin Chinda, says he supported the tournament because Draft is helping young people to stay away from negative vices. And Drafts players interviewed by Camnet News say the sport has been instrumental in keeping young people busy and staying away from negative vices. They have since called on other cooperating partners to support the sport.
Checkers, also known as Droughts, is a group of strategy board games for two players which involve diagonal moves of uniform game pieces and mandatory captures by jumping over the opponent pieces. In most communities of Zambia, it is known as Game Yamalova, or a sport for jobless people. Young people in MUNALI constituency are using the sport to stay away from vices. Socialist Party member of the National Management Council, Crispin Chinda, supported the tournament because he feels Droughts is helping young people to stay away from vices in the constituency. The final was being played between Chainda Droughts Club and New Academy Droughts Club. Chainda carried the day.
The good part of draft, most of the youth in Mukomboni, Wambiri, Wamangalati, Wakumwa, Benango, Majanti, Wabema. Then for me, not Tinning in Munjirao, I would rather Nankarachepa draft Paja instead of kuenda kuchita vinango na chitako che refresh mind. So then na moment nazira draft ikabwera shepe mene hapa ngati wateya ungala uona kwa wanza kumwe wateya then akakuza okay hapa wateya so okay na ufaka kwa che ngala shari mind wayasunga che games.
Monga i game yatu ya draft imatitandiza munjira zambiri. One mangalati sometimes for example ngati nchitu tilivi imapezeka hapa and then kutandala kwa na wanzatu and then tizilana futi na wanzatu mambiri muri game futi timashita encourage wanzatu kuti wakazingala ozi ya masubira kulingana na mwene timagalira mangala peace kulibe bwambana bwanji kulibe.
Mr. Chinda spoke to Camnet News.
So coming to the community, on the community level, it is the people themselves. When they say we want a draft competition to be done, for us to be there just to support them. This is what we've done. They told us that they wanted, they've never done draft tournament, so we came here and supported them. So for us, just to support and at least guide in a way. So this is helping a lot because it's keeping them busy in doing a lot of things. So and we're going forward, we're going to keep our communities quite busy so that they don't engage in these other things. So I've just talking to the women in the community, and they've also promised that they will come up with something. They will let me know in due time so that we can support them, and also they are kept busy.
And some young people say the sport is important because it is helping them stay away from vices. Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
To end our news tonight, we take a look at stories making headlines once again. Stakeholders continue to criticize government over load shedding. Fertilizer delays supply angers KABWE farmers. Social scientists optimistic of government's debt restructuring program. In international news, East Africa drought threatens millions with starvation. And in sports news, young people in MUNALI spend time on the sport of draft to avoid negative vices. We now look at the Camnet verse of the day, which is coming from Hebrews 13, verse 15. Keep your lives free from the love of money and be content with what you have, because God has said, never will I leave you, never will I forsake you. Thank you once again for watching Camnet Television Main News. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Good night.